Virgin Huntress by Victoria Vane. Chapter 1. I just can't believe it, Vesta wailed. Papa just pops off to London one day and returns a se'nnight later with a wife? How could he? And without even consulting me? And that hussy is barely older than I am. Vesta, dearest, I quite understand how you feel after being his joy, his only joy for so long. But it's hardly the end of the world, replied her godmother Diana. You must not despise your father for remarrying. After all, he's mourned your mother far longer than most men would have done. Besides, he's still a young man, and no doubt has renewed hope for an heir, especially given such a young bride. Vesta curled her lips in repugnance. Is that why he's wed her, do you suppose? Simply to sire an heir? I don't doubt that that's part of his reason. But why must he act such a besotted fool over her? Vesta asked, her eyes burning with welling tears. Phoebe this, and Phoebe that, and my darling sweet Phoebe. It's enough to make me cast up my accounts. I know, darling, the elder woman soothed and stroked Vesta's hair, but by all indications it does appear a love match. But it means so very much change. She's already turned the entire household upside down. Vesta noted with particular rancor her father's abrupt changes in habits, his late risings, early retirement, and his lessened enthusiasm for estate business. Why did he go and do such an addle-pated thing when we were so happy before? I know. Diana closed her petite body in a warm maternal embrace. It must be terribly hard on you, my lamb, but you must at least try to be happy for your father's sake. But what about you, Aunt Di? I hadn't even considered how greatly this alters your position. I just can't bear it. Vesta's lips quivered. Here, you've virtually run the household since Mamma... She broke off with a sniff. I was certain that in time Papa would ask you. Vesta hiccuped. Her Aunt Diana, in reality her godmother and second cousin, had been a surrogate mother to her for the past 3 years. She'd also helped to run the household and frequently acted as hostess for her father. It only made sense that Papa would eventually wed her. And now Papa no longer rides with me in the mornings because darling Phoebe doesn't ride. Nor does he play backgammon before bed because we can't play as 3. He's ruined it all. She flung herself onto the bed to fully indulge her histrionics. And what about my come-out? Has he forgotten all about it? Her body shuddered anew. Her father's stated purpose in going to London a fortnight ago had been to secure a house for the upcoming season. Instead, he'd returned with his own bride in tow after a mere 3 days' acquaintance. Vesta was truly and tearfully bewildered why any man nearing 40 years would do such a foolish thing as take a young bride like that detestable Phoebe. The circumstances filled her with resentment and rage. There was only one answer for it. After several more minutes of racking sobs, Vesta bolted upright. I'll just run away, Vesta cried. I hate her. I hate them both. Diana retrieved a lace-edged linen handkerchief from her sleeve and patted Vesta's tear-stained cheeks. There, dearest, surely some better arrangement can be made. It's time for your introduction to society, and your father has already secured a house for the season. Perhaps you and I could go to London together. What would you think of that? Do you really mean that, Aunt Di? Vesta blew her nose loudly. Just you and I? Why not, dear lamb? I've not been to the capital in nearly 5 years. I would certainly relish the change in scenery after being buried in the country for so long. Imagine the shopping, the sights, and of course there's so much to do to prepare for your come-out. It would be such a pleasure, don't you think? Vesta said. But Papa, would he ever allow it? I've never been further away from Leeds without him, and never anywhere overnight. Don't worry about your father, Diana stroked Vesta's cheek. I shall speak with him at once and convince him it's the best solution for all.